Hi there YouTube, this is Robert speaking from the Orchid Man channel. I hope you're all well there. I thought I'm gonna make a update because I haven't made any updates for a long while because I was busy with life, stuff were going on. I was also busy in doing a UK orchid group on Facebook. If any of you are interested, it's called Growing Orchids in the UK and Ireland. And I'm hoping to see more of you come and join the group. However, let's talk about orchids, and particularly not just orchids, but I'm gonna start with a few updates. So the first one is my Cattleya Black Comet, which is actually in bloom for me for the first time. It is a wonderful flower, as you can see. If I can just bring it a bit closer and you can see. Oh, is it going to zoom? I don't think it's going to zoom. Let me manually help it. So you can see those flowers are really dark. It's something between a very dark purple and maroon. It is a lovely flower and it's very fragrant. It is a very sweet floral with a hint of rose. It is very vigorous. So for any of you who are a bit worried about having trouble with your plants, this one is very forgiving and is very vigorous. I'm saying that because I had it in semi-hydroponics for a year now, and obviously I was still learning. There was a few mistakes I was doing in the beginning, and it actually was quite vigorous and forgiving. So it dried up the first flower spike and the sheath, and I thought I completely lost it. However, since I moved it on a heating mat and did some extra LED lights, suddenly this dead sheath decided to bloom. So here we are. This is the flower sheath that decided to first die on me and then rebloom. And then you can see in the background just here, there is another flower sheath just forming, and I'm kind of hoping that because the environment is much better optimized for it right now, it's not going to dry out, and it's actually going to form buds and flowers soon. So it will create a wonderful display. This one is actually quite easy to care for. It does like warmer temperatures, however, and it does like the typical Cattleya light. I wouldn't say super strong, but enough. So the one I have, the LED lamps I currently have hold in around 2,500 candle lights constantly. However, the window does get late around 4 o'clock. It gets direct sunlight, so this is very good for it, and it does enjoy it. It's been in semi-hydroponics. It's been doing really well in it. It's grown plenty of roots, and every growth is bigger. So I can only say that for this one, semi-hydroponics was a success. And you know, how can you not love those flowers? They have this weird turnaround octopus shape, and the colors themselves are really dark and they're very attractive. I hate anything that looks like a black orchid, because for me it's basically one of those orchids that's just so mutated that the color is so dark that it just looks ugly. However, this one, it is dark, but it's this type of color that it changes its saturation depending on the intensity of the light, and you can actually see the way the petals are done. You have this tiny shimmering tissue on top of the petals that reflect the sunlight or any sorts of light, just changing the color. So you can right now, you can see it's very dark purple, something like that. However, for me, from my perspective, away from the camera, the color is actually something with a tint of bluish. It actually kind of looks for me like the inside of a blueberry. So you can imagine that how this actually works for the attractiveness of the plant. Right, so this is it. So this is the first plant I had to show you. The second plant I'm going to show you, which is not in the flower, is my Encyclia randi. Just zoom out a tiny bit. So this is my Encyclia randi, which is one of those really nice Encyclia species that has those extremely attractive dark red leaves, and the bulbs are also really dark, and it has flowers which are very, very similar to Cordillera. Actually, a lot of people say the Encyclia randi and Cordillera are related. However, because of the physiognomy of the plant and the flowers, there's a lot of distinctions in there, and especially Cordillera has huge bulbs and is actually quite picky, and this one has very small bulbs, and it seems to be more forgiving also. So this one in particular was the newest bulb. It's grown on me really well, and it's been doing quite well for me. I mean, it had a bit of a period when it didn't like me, and I think it's because, as I discovered, it wasn't staked in the pot, especially because it's in semi-hydroponics. It was tiny bit moving around, and all of the new roots were not very happy because they didn't have anything to attach to, and because when you come to watering, the way I water, I just don't pour the water just a tiny bit. I make sure to top the water up to the top of the pot, so any dirt, any grime, any salt buildup can flush through. The top pebbles can be cleaned too, and it goes down. And because of that, when you have the water raises the pebbles and moves them about. This can be sometimes tricky and not very good. However, since I staked it seems to be doing way much better. And plus, it is such a lovely plant just to look at, that it just sits there under the lights, and I'm happy for it to do whatever it's doing. It is showing a sign of growth because it has a new side forming, so I am hoping for much best in the future. Next one is exciting news. So, careful, because this one has water from the watering yesterday in the bottom. So, yeah, can you see it? Yes, you can see it. So this one, let me just zoom it gently here. So this one is my hybrid. So this is a Encyclia, and this is an Encyclia tempensis crossed with Adenocarpa. I don't know if you know how both of them look like. They're quite similar. Adenocarpa has a bit more orange tint in its flowers, and then tempensis actually is more greenish and more brownish. So you can say the hybrid is going to look really, really nice, making the flowers look a bit closer to a lata, only if you're familiar. So anyway, this one I've got a couple of 3 months ago probably, from France, and it is a beautiful big plant. It doesn't look that big, but it actually seems quite big. It has very nice robust bulbs and quite compact structure, and as you can see, it has a nice thick flower spike forming, which is this one just here. This one is an old flower spike which basically dried out, also this one. So you can actually see how thin they are. The flower spikes are almost thin as a thread, and this one particular one actually has 3 flower spikes forming, and this one is the longest so far. So I'm extremely excited for this one because for me, all Encyclias, especially the small type ones, the compact ones, they basically are the Oncidiums of Cattleyas. So when they grow on the flower spikes, which are very thin and lovely, they will branch out, and they can have up to 30 or 40 flowers on the spike, which is extremely exciting, and is going to look absolutely wonderful, and are very, very fragrant, which is great. And I can't wait for that. I am also going to be very excited to actually see how the flowers look like, because although I tried googling them online, I could not physically find a picture that basically shows how those ones are going to look like, but anything is going to happen. Now, I was doing some swapping with the plants, so I have two of my ones, which let me zoom out for a bit. So this one is my Proctavola orange peacock, and this one is my Leliocattleya tropical pointer galaxy, which grew so big that I had to cut them a bit and divide them, and basically I sent my lovely divisions to my friend Christine, which I'm hoping they are going to live for her really well. So that you could, as you can see, they have a lot of really new growths. They seem very happy under the lights and semi-hydroponics, especially if you have a look here. You can actually notice all of the new roots, and basically this one is very, very, very happy. And this one always grew really well and it's been very vigorous. What I wanted to say, when I was learning, and I'm still learning, as everyone does, about semi-hydroponics, I didn't realize actually that my Cattleyas and all of my other orchids love sun. Now I would like to show you a rescuee which I got from a store online from Poland, and when it arrived to me, it wasn't in the best condition. It was actually in a very, very poor condition, and you can actually see, based on how tiny this thing is. So this has a no ID. It was supposed to be a Phalaenopsis Frimborg, but after doing some research, this is not it. The flowers don't look anything like it, because I did see the pictures of the flowers initially before I got it. And there is quite possible, so this is quite probably there is a Bellina and a Violacea in the parentage, but there are also other ones and I have no idea what it is. However, it has lovely, wonderful flowers and I can't wait to see them bloom again. That's why I actually tried fighting for it. It's sitting on a heating mat, it's growing a lot of new roots, and the fact that it's on a heating mat, and I think semi-hydroponics really helped it recover, because I don't think in any other environment it would actually recover this well. So you can see there's two really small leaves. The really, really small one is the old one from last year. So this was the growth that it happened when it was really struggling. It grew a few roots this year at the beginning of the year, at the end of January. I actually took it out of the pots because I wanted to see what's happening in there, and it grew a lot of roots going down in the pot, which you can't see. That's why the new leaf, the top one, is bigger and is growing, and it's getting much, much bigger. So I'm hoping this one is gonna get quite big and it's gonna be very, very healthy. Now, I want to show you two sister plants, which I'm extremely excited about. So just hold on with me. So this is plant number one. So this is the Phalaenopsis KS Happy Eagle, I know, crossed with Princess Kailuani. Oh my god, that name is horrible and I can't barely say it. So this one I saw in flower last year when I received it. It had a wonderful strawberry red flower. I don't know if you are too familiar with any of the parents. So KS Happy Eagle has an absolutely wonderful Bellina style yellow flower, and Princess Kailuani has a reddish pinky one, which is basically, if I'm not mistaken, is Violacea and Macassa. I might be wrong, I'm probably wrong, but I'm just guessing. And the flowers are really, really nice. And now the second one, which I have never seen in flower, but, and I'm gonna just move it so you can see the sizing is so much different. And this one has a absolutely massive flower spike, which I'm so excited about, because you can see the flower buds. It has 1, 2, 3, 4 flower buds in there, and they look so extremely healthy and so green, and you can actually slowly see the coloration forming in the first flower bud. So for me, this is wow. Both of them were sitting on the heating mats. Both are in semi-hydroponics, and they are enjoying the LED lamps, which are a tiny bit more than the typical Phalaenopsis requirement, which is 1500 foot candles optimum. Those ones, they are having around 2000, but the LED light is way further away from them, so the light is a bit more diffracted, therefore I'm not worried they're gonna burn. You might say to me like, oh Rob, you have those yellow bits on the foliage. The yellow bits are basically caused by deficiency of magnesium in the past. These ones had, and those basically I've treated with using Epsom salts, so those guys are doing much better right now. Obviously this one is still showing some stuff because it didn't really grow a new leaf. However, you can see on the new one, whoop, hold on, because my camera is losing its footing. So as you can see on the brand new one leaf, on the second one, the leaves are beautifully green. So no worries, this one, the bigger one, is soon going to join it, and they're going to look very, very healthy. Now, I would like to change the topic from phals to something completely different. Actually, completely different from orchids. Why am I changing the topic? Well, I did some experiments, because I do like doing experiments, and there's a certain other type of plant which I absolutely love. So I decided, you know, I don't have a garden, I really want to have this plant, I don't want to spend thousands of pounds of buying it from a shop. So therefore I decided I'm gonna experiment with semi-hydroponics and going to see if I can grow dahlias in semi-hydroponics, because I've read online that you can in fact grow them in aquaponics, and you can basically grow anything in semi-hydroponics, because everything except seeds, because they'll kind of mush and die. However, so this is my dahlia that I've planted the tubers. So before you start asking questions, I did not plant the seeds, I did not plant the cuttings. I've went to Wilko, for anyone that's familiar with British shops. I went to Wilko and I bought a pack of tubers. So basically it was 3 in a pack for like £2. The pom-pom style ones, and the other one was the semi-cactus one at the mix. And I got these and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna pot them. And this was potted almost, so this yesterday was the start of week 4. So this is 4 weeks in semi-hydroponics under lights on a heating mat. And the plant is huge, and I mean it's huge. This is at least 30 centimeters tall now. It's doing really well. It's very happy as far as I can see. The foliage has really nice green color. The second one, which I'm gonna put just here now, this is also a dahlia. Funny is how you can see the actual structural difference between two plants from the same family. So this has this lovely, I can't even say what it is. It's basically, it's like arrow-shaped foliage. The other one is the heart-shaped. Yeah, that's probably the best description I can find. And they're both doing extremely well. Part of this experiment I was doing I potted 2 other tubers in semi-hydroponics, and I left them outside. And what happened was, these ones, they're absolutely huge, and I can't wait. I mean, I'm expecting flowers within the next 4 weeks, because they say that within 4 weeks, 8 weeks from planting them, you should have the first flowers. I'm really hoping for that. I just need to read more about fertilizing, because I did started using the typical garden plant fertilizer. However, I have been using orchid fertilizer too, just to make sure I don't burn them, and so they still have plenty of nutrients. Anyway, so these 2 are heavenly big. They're so happy. Now the other 2, they didn't do this well. So there was a very big one, the semi-cactus one, which I potted outside, and it didn't do anything for the last 4 weeks, and I just brought it home now, last Thursday. And my idea was basically, because 2 weeks ago we had this wonderful, really hot weekend, so I thought I'm just gonna do this. And so I brought it now, and it didn't have anything. No leaves, no roots, nothing. And it's been sitting on the heating mat for the last 5 days. And voila, this morning I came and had a look, and it has a green leaf coming out. So it means these ones really enjoy the heating mat. And the 4th pot is sitting in the kitchen. It started having leaves because I kept it for a while in the house, and it started having a new growth. And since I left it outside, the growth completely stopped, nothing. And since I brought it back home last Thursday till now, the leaf and the growth tripled in size. So you can imagine the difference between the standard house heating and the outdoors for right now is not good. So this is my lesson learned when they actually say on the package, what they say, like, oh, you can plant them in April or May, it's a lie. Because basically with those type of plants, it's best to read about them. So Dahlia are South African, Central South African plants, and they like the heat. So if you want to start them, make sure you're going to have that heat. Otherwise, they're just, you can wait for your flowers till bloody October or something. I've seen people growing them in soil, in greenhouses and everything, but if, like me, you're not living where you have a garden or a greenhouse, but you still love dahlias, I do recommend getting yourself a heating mat, getting yourself some pebbles, a jug from Wilco which costs you 25p, and planting a dahlia tuber in it, and then see yourself. Because you can, on a heating mat, which basically can fit around 8 to 10 pods, depending on the size of the pods, you can get yourself a beautiful dahlia display, and you can also help your orchids. Anyway guys, so that's me talking. I'm gonna stop talking right now because there is stuff to do in the house, stuff to do with my dahlias. I need to read about them. I do hope you enjoyed this little catch up with me. Well, not little, because it's going to be around 20 something minutes. Apologies for not being there, I was just busy. And as I said in the beginning, I do invite you to the Growing Orchids in the UK and Ireland group on Facebook. If you're living in the UK, you're more than welcome. I'm just saying that because the group is basically for invite, so we're trying to be open-minded, but we do prefer members from the UK just to make sure that we don't get spammed a lot. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!